Why does Drake hate Thank Me Later? This is an album that debuted #1 on the Billboard charts and sold 447,000 copies first week. All the way back in 2010, no streaming. This is physical copies. And I got a quote here from Drake on the Rap Radar podcast he did a couple years ago.
Like, that was like probably the only one of my albums that was remotely influenced by by where I was at in my career at the time. I think I felt a lot of pressure to prove that I knew like big famous people. Just being from where I was from and stuff, like, you know, like I just wanted to show like Toronto, like, look who I got on my album. And yeah, I think I like made majority of that album on a tour as well. I think we were eager to get it out, and I still love it as part of my story. But yeah, it was definitely probably the one project that like maybe had the least personal touches, and it was just really about like how big can we look.
There, I believe, to be phenomenal songs in the albums. From there, we could talk about the big hits like Over. We could talk about some great tracks like Show Me a Good Time. And even going on from there, we got The Resistance, Karaoke, those two tracks that feel reminiscent to So Far Gone. And now we have additional, we got more conversations about Thank Me Later. This time, an interview right before Take Care dropped, before Drake compares Thank Me Later and Take Care. And in this, Drake says that, to be 100% honest, I wasn't necessarily happy with Thank Me Later. People loved it, but I just knew what I was capable of with a little more time. I'm very confident in Take Care. I definitely made the exact album that I wanted. Will it appear that way to the world? I'm not sure, because it's definitely different. It's not 15 I'm on ones. It's not She Will. I'm very happy with Take Care, more so than I've been with a project. And then, of course, with further elaboration, this album, Take Care, has consistency. You will not hear a piece of music that does not belong. The words are really important to me. When you get a young artist, they are on the rise. Often the music becomes not what they have going on in their lives or the surrounding, but it starts to lose substance. You can always be like, man, I'm such and such, but I think you have to tread some life in there, so something that will last. And so this is something that when you put these quotes together, you start seeing how Drake feels about Thank Me Later post-release. Thank Me Later was an album that, even though it did well commercially, blowing by expectations, even though we did have some big names on Thank Me Later, such as Alicia Keys, Weezy, Jay-Z, at the time, Jeezy, and Nicki Minaj coming up, there was a lack of cohesiveness. And there's even another interview where he discusses how there's certain tracks where he felt belong more on the line of So Far Gone, that kind of feel, sprinkled with something else. The fact that Drake also makes music, usually, at a place and time. Sometimes he likes to go all the way back home and focus in the studio there, as we've seen with certain recent albums in the past couple years. He was on tour. It was a bit all over the place, and he emphasized the features. He emphasized the grand debut over a cohesive project, especially in comparison to Take Care, based on what I just broke down for you guys. Now, one thing we could take from this is Take Care, amazing, phenomenal, of course, a classic, but that Drake himself does view Take Care in its entirety cohesive from start to finish, as opposed to Thank Me Later. Now, at the time of Thank Me Later dropping, of course, Drake enjoyed the album. Now, he doesn't necessarily hate Thank Me Later, but he doesn't feel exactly how he did when it first dropped. And then to give you some official quotes right here, Thank Me Later, wow, there we go. This album, I definitely wanted to be consistent with that sound, because I felt like So Far Gone. I'm not going to go through the whole entire thing, but already we're getting pieces of his previous mixtape in this album that he wanted to throw in there. Anyhow, from there, he references the fact that there's, this song raps from different perspective, and there's different things going on through his life. There's different changes. You go into Over, you start hearing Show Me a Good Time, Fancy, and it just gets bigger. And sonically, you hear Kanye West and Swizz Beatz and various other features to where it's grand and it makes a giant impression. Now, how do you guys feel about Thank Me Later in 2022? Did you hear it when it initially dropped all the way back in 2010? How has it grown on you? And for anybody that became, I want to say, a fan of Drake post 2015, going back to his albums before that time, or I'll even say anything from like getting into Drake 2017 beforehand. How did you feel listening to his earlier work?